Good morning. For those who do not know me, my name is Joy Ferguson. My husband is that guy on stage who sings and leads worship every Sunday. We have been members of BCC since 1998, with a 7-year break because Ken was employed at other churches leading worship for a time. We have been members, I skipped that part. During that time, I was employed by Hope House Detroit, which is a charity founded by Gary and Becky Gentry, as Rick said, who were also members of BCC years ago. I would like to share with you a quick good news report from Hope House Detroit after this video.
Hope House is community.
Hope House is beautiful.
Hope House is the real deal.
Hope House is a place for kids to know they are loved.
There are so many things that Hope House Detroit is, but essentially it's a community center for kids in the neighborhood.
When you think of a community center, you typically think of a building in a downtown area. Hope House is a house. We are in the neighborhood. We are living as neighbors with our community and with our kids.
And our goal is just to love people and love God.
We offer programs after school and summer.
We have a reading program that we do. We have a boys and girls mentoring program that we have. We do big events or block parties.
Just things for kids to take part in a safe space for them.
Welcome to Hope House.
Hope House's mission is to encourage and accompany young people towards their potential. A lot of our kids have had a harder life, and they've developed ways to cope with that and ways to shelter themselves from things and ways to deal with some of the struggle and pain that they've had. When you have support, it can make all the difference in the world. We want our kids to know they have potential and power and a purpose and really go out there and change the world.
We would not be able to do Hope House without our volunteers.
The Lord has brought the right people with the right giftings at the right time to be able to do the work that He has set out for us to do.
Hanging out with the kids, running programs, buying snacks, planning out activities, while also making sure that each kid that walks through our doors feels loved, wanted, and that this is a space that they belong.
It's full of people who deeply, deeply believe in kids, especially kids in Detroit.
Each staff person has different and unique relationships with each kid.
The first time at Avion was coming in for one of our weekly gatherings, and shoot, man, he came to the door and just like a bundle of energy, like he owned the place.
Everybody was having a meeting inside of the living room, and he came through the door, and I pranked him with a fake snake.
And it didn't work, even if he says otherwise.
I like hanging out with Mr. Zeke because he's fun. I feel happy and energized.
I love his capacity to just have fun, and it's just a beautiful thing to see.
It's kids connecting with volunteers in a special way.
Kids want to be loved, they want to be seen, they want to have time spent with them. I've seen so many kids that I love and that I have relationships with, and just how special that is. What an honor that is and a privilege that I get to have those relationships with these awesome kids.
We're not just talking to them, we're not just giving them lessons. We're hearing their thoughts, listening to what they find important and what they value. For a process-focused ministry, we are focused on not necessarily envisioning an end goal for them, but just walking with them as they reach and move toward their potential.
It's really important and crucial for the young people at Hope House to know who Jesus is, because He promises to bring life. They were created by a creator who made them in His image, and they are priceless. We want to model what Jesus' love is like. We're gonna love you. We want to share in this journey of life with you. That's what I love about Hope House, is that we're just real.
Hope House Detroit is a blending of community and fun.
Laughter and conversation.
Activities and food, personal and communal development for old and young,
And love. Real.
crazy.
Love.
I wanted to share that video with you because I always get excited about ministries that are bearing fruit. And you, as a part of BCC, are my family, and this community has brought me up in the faith. Besides, we can all do it with a little bit of good news, right? Here's the connection. I'm involved in a small part of the ministries you saw in the video, as I am currently a literacy tutor at Read Around the Block, one of the Hope House programs that is offered to the neighborhood. I help tutor kids from the surrounding area in reading and writing. Today, I want to share a short testimony, one of the most awe-inspiring stories I've been a part of as a result of being at Hope House. When I started at Hope House in 2017, there was this one particular family in the reading program that was troubled, and the kids from the family would tell me things like, if I want something to eat from the fridge, I have to pay for it, and the fridge has a lock on it. Or, my brother is sad because his daddy was shot while he was still in my mom's stomach. Sometimes in the course of the program, our staff would have to restrain one of these kids because they were trying to run away or get outside and hide under the Hope House van. Now the good news. Of this troubled family, the boys are now young men. One of them has his own ministry and podcast and has just been accepted to his college of first choice. The other boy who used to hide under the van is now enrolled in the Hope House job training program. They both stuck with us until they were grown up because of the love of Jesus that surrounded them and held them, expressed through the staff and volunteers at Hope House. Other kids can be observed coming out of their shells and going from sad faces to big smiles. Today, more children are being hugged, fed nutritious food, tutored, mentored, played with, and prayed with, all the while hearing the good news about Jesus. We need volunteers to be his loving arms and voice. Specifically, we need volunteers who will take the time to guide kids through program times, prepare snacks, tutor and be an example of Jesus. I know tutoring can sound intimidating, but really, you just get to read a book with a cute kid and have a desire to be loving, patient, and kind with whomever you're with. Hope House staff will help you through anything else. Thank you for this opportunity to share. I will be at the mission stand by the front doors after the service to answer any questions. I would love for you to try out volunteering at Hope House Detroit. God bless.
Go. There we go. Buona Safiwe. Okay, Buona Safiwe means praise the Lord amongst Christian believers, and your response is amen. So, Buona Safiwe. And if you don't say it loud enough with a certain energy, you get Buona Safiwe. Amen.
For us, it's a real blessing to be here today. It was great to hear Joy talk about her ministry at Hope House. We think Hope House is a really cool thing, so I would encourage each of you to take some time and consider volunteering there. Detroit has lots of needs, and that's a really great place for kids to be. So let's talk about Tanzania now. We've been in Tanzania, living there since 2004. That will be 20 years in February, so that's a really long time. Some days it seems like forever, and other days it seems like we still don't know what we're doing. So there we are.
We went there when we were 20.
That was good, hon. Some of you know, or a lot of you know our history, but I just thought I'd review a little bit to remind you. We actually went on our first short-term mission trip to Tanzania in 2001. There we are pictured in our living room here in Brighton with our young children and the people from BCC that went with us. We formed a team, and we did things in Tanzania like prayer walking, painting classrooms, playing with children, and that kind of thing in a refugee camp. When we were getting ready to leave that refugee camp, the missionary that we were serving with said to Todd and I, "You guys know about water problems. Can you fix these people's water?" Well, of course, he waited till the last day when the bus was leaving. But God kind of encouraged us to do some more investigation and really worked in our hearts. And so we went back again in 2002. We had come up with a solution that we thought would solve everyone's problems for water, the biosand water filter. So this was our first biosand water filter seminar at the refugee camp. And these people there were mostly Somalians that had immigrated to Tanzania. And we thought that if we did the teaching and provided the tools, that they would just take off and make water filters for every one of their families. But that didn't really work out that way. We learned a lot that trip, along with other things. And during that trip, we also really felt God calling us to full-time ministry in Tanzania. And so in 2003, we did a lot of preparation, a lot of praying, and it was right in this very sanctuary that God really spoke to our hearts. Sorry. And we made the decision to go to Tanzania. And so with the support of BCC, many of our friends and family here in Brighton, we went to Tanzania. However, as we were getting to leave in 2003, we called that the year of learning and challenges. We had to learn a lot about what it meant to be a missionary. We also were ready to go, ready to get on the plane. We were having a yard sale at our house. And this was 12 days before the plane was supposed to take off.
She got it right. It's 12 days.
And Todd was cutting down a tree in our backyard, and he lost his arm. And there's a lot more to that, a lot of really God things that happen. I don't have time this morning to go into all of it, but Todd is happy to talk to you if you would like to learn more. We do like to share that story. So then 6 months later, we were on the plane to Tanzania. Before we left, it looked like that. In February of 2004, we took our last ski trip at Boeing Mountain, and when we arrived in Tanzania, the weather was much different. It was much hotter. And then, so we've been there. Our children were there with us for a long time, and then they came back and went to university here and have since stayed here in the U.S. They both live here in Southeast Michigan. You can see a picture of who we are today there. That was taken at the Fisher Theater, right? Yeah, I think so. And so we're really, really blessed to have two wonderful daughters and a son-in-law. And unfortunately, they couldn't be with us today, but that's who we are now. So I'd like to tell you, so now you're like, well, so what do you do in Tanzania? What have you been doing there for the last 20 years? Well, let's first of all start off with something that's really near and dear to our hearts. So Maji ni Uhai means life, water is life. Maji ni Uhai is Swahili, which is the language of Tanzania. And it was really interesting because last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, we were in rural Wisconsin near La Crosse in this little tiny country church. And we walked in and we were supposed to speak, but there was no video, there was no, we couldn't show any pictures or anything. So that was pretty unusual for us. But up in front of the altar was this bucket. And on it, it said, "Water is life." So it kind of made us feel really welcome, and it kind of really got the conversation going with the people there. So that was a really cool thing.
We taught them some Swahili.
Yeah. And, water is really, really important part of our ministry. You ask why. Well, in the Bible, water is mentioned 722 times. That's really a lot. That's more than love, hope, or even worship is mentioned. The first place it's mentioned is in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, where it says, "The earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." So water was there from the very beginning. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And if we go on through the Bible, I won't read all 722 verses, but there are some that really were speaking to me, and I wanted to share them with you this morning. One of them is in Jeremiah, and this is when Jeremiah is talking, well, maybe God is talking to Jeremiah, or God is talking through Jeremiah, and it says, this is Jeremiah 2:13, "My people," talking about the Israelites, "have committed two sins. They have forsaken the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. So think about that. Here's this beautiful spring over here, Jesus, the living water. The water is flowing, it's free. But the Israelites, like me, like Todd, like many of us here, we decide that we're going to go over here and do something a better way. We're going to dig our own cisterns to hold the water. Unfortunately, those cisterns don't hold water very well. And so, this is just a real picture of how, even though we have this wonderful opportunity of the living water, sometimes we step away and forget that it's there and want to do things our own way. And when I was thinking about this verse, these are two little things that maybe will embed this information in your head, is we have a dog in Tanzania. His name is Simba. He's a big dog, and he likes to go on walks with Todd. And what
Todd likes to go on walks with Simba.
Yeah, there we go. So what happens is when he gets back from his walk, he has these two beautiful big bowls of fresh water that get refreshed every single day. But instead of going to those two big bowls of fresh water, he goes over to the potted plant that has a little water left underneath it and drinks the dirty, muddy water. And I'm just think about that compared to this verse. Why does he choose that dirty water? I don't know. I wish he would choose the good fresh water. The other thing is we've been staying with one of our daughters who has a cat, and the cat has this amazing fountain. It has, the water just runs through it. It makes this nice noise that sometimes keeps us up at night. And it's fresh water all the time. But you know where you might find that cat? In the bathroom, drinking the water out of the toilet. So these are two good examples of what Jeremiah was talking about, or what God was telling Jeremiah. We really need to look at the living water. So if we go to the last verse in the Bible that talks about the living water, this has become our theme verse. And this is found in Revelations 22:17. And the Spirit and the bride say, "Come, and let him who hears say, Come. And whoever is thirsty, let him come. And whoever wishes, let him take the life-giving water of Jesus Christ." So, that's the kind of living water that we want to have. We also want all the people that we're serving in Tanzania to have that living water. We don't want them digging their own cisterns that leak. So that's why we do what we do. So let's go on to what we actually do. Most of our ministry revolves around what we call the BioSan water filter. This is a filter that we make. All the materials used to make the filter are available in Tanzania. A properly working filter takes out almost all of the bad stuff. Doesn't take out chemicals, doesn't take out salt, but it takes out pretty much everything that makes either us or the Tanzanians sick. So you can see a picture of it there. We actually make these filters. We have 2 workshops in Tanzania, one in northern Tanzania and one in Morogoro town, which is where Todd and I live when we're not here sharing things like this with you. So we make them, we make the concrete. We also make the media that goes inside the filter, the sand and gravel that's inside that helps with the filtration process. So those are the manufacturing part. But we can't just manufacture filters. We learned that right away. We have to also do a lot of education and training. So most of the time, we do what we call training and awareness sessions. Now, these sessions can be done at our workshop in our nice little office building, or they can be done under a tree in the village or in a local church, sometimes in a community building or a school. It doesn't really matter where the education happens. We just try to make sure that people understand why they need clean water, but also why they need the living water of Jesus Christ. So we incorporate those 2 things into the seminars. Then after, if someone wants a filter, they sign up for a filter, and we arrange to have that filter brought to their house. So sometimes filter installations can be a bit challenging. We do have trucks that we use, but sometimes the trucks don't work all very well, or there's no road to get to the house. So here's a video that shows you of a filter installation. Usto and Lighted.
Hapa kwa
Mheshimiwa, kweli hili ni tukio
ndio.
na ukizingatia matumizi utaepukana na magonjwa yanayosababishwa na maji,
Kabisa.
typhoid
Ndio.
na minyoo.
Kabisa.
Sisi tukiwa tunatoa huduma hii, kama wewe mwenyewe umeona shughuli ile tunaifanya, kama ulivyoeleza kwamba kuna nyumba ambazo ziko milimani, tunatumia nguvu kazi kama ulivyosema, lakini Mungu wetu ni mwaminifu, wala hawezi kutuacha.
Sisi hatutachoka kuwahudumia Watanzania wenzetu, kama vile Biblia inavyosema kwamba rafiki yako ni bora sana kuliko wewe.
Just to give you an idea, the filter, it weighs 80 kilograms, which is about 175 pounds empty. So it weighs over 300 pounds when it's full.
So then I have the next video is of someone who has actually received a filter, and we asked her for her feedback on what she thinks about her filter.
My name is Hadija Jumanne. Other name you can call me Mama Abdul. I have a family. I have 2 grown-up children and 5 grandchildren. This filter has a good benefit. I'm drinking clean water. There is no stomach problems like before. We have typhoid and body diarrhea, but now we are drinking clean water with my family. There is no more diarrhea, no more stomach problems. So we are encouraging them to continue bringing the filter for the villages.
We really like it when the women like to talk to us about the filter. Some of them are very shy and they don't want to talk. And so, yeah, it's really good to hear them express why they like the filter. So now the next video that I would like to show you is from Charles, and I'll let that explain itself.
Hello everybody, my name is Chaz Alphonse, and I'm working at Serving Our Neighbor Tanzania. And my big goal here is to schedule distribution of water filters. What we do as SAN is we educate people the importance of using clean water. As we know in Africa, many people are using dirty water. So for us, we teach them the benefit of using clean and safe water to their families, and also we give them a gift of biosand water filters so that they can have clean water every day. As we know, Christ is the gift of living water, and we teach them on our training that they should stay connected with Christ in their daily life. Another thing that we do, one of our programs, is to teach young kids about WASH, which is water, sanitation, and hygiene. We believe on teaching young kids will impact the future. So we teach them to stay clean, to wash their hands, to keep their environment clean. And also we have another program, we call it the puberty program. And with that program, we teach also young kids, they should be aware of the changes that happen to on their body. Here, most people are not free to talk to the kids about the changes. So here, what we do, we intervene and teach children, those young kids, about the changes that happen to them and help them through their challenges. So thank you very much. And one of our big requests is to pray for us about continuous support for this ministry, and we ask you to stay connected with us, and we ask you to pray and pray for the team. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
So Charles is our general manager. He's pretty much running the show while Todd and I are here. He's a very capable young man, and we're really blessed to have him as part of our team. I would like to introduce you to a few of our other team members. This is Adriano. Adriano's a young man. We think he's really young. He turned 28. And so he started working with us in April. He's doing a lot of the education and training and the outreach in many of the villages. And, you know, he's young, so he can ride that motorcycle for a few hours over the village roads, and he doesn't seem to be fazed by it, where some of our older people don't really like to do that. So he's been a real blessing. He's doing amazing work. We're really excited to see what God will do with him. This is Justo. You saw Justo in the video. Justo is our, we will say, I guess, production manager. He's responsible for making sure the filters are made properly. Justo's a really, really hard worker. He has a big family, and he doesn't talk very much. But we really love him, and he's an amazing guy. He knows the Bible so well. I just love it when he can quote scripture just off the top of his head all the time. So it's really amazing. And then we have Nuhu. Nuhu's the exact opposite of Justo. Nuhu talks all the time. He never stops. He has a great smile. He's very much fun to be around. He has calmed down a little bit now that he has 3 children. The last one was born over Labor Day weekend, and his name is Joshua. This is Joyce. You saw her doing the teaching. Some of you may know, I've talked about Joyce quite a lot. And she's an amazing woman. She has a difficult home life, and she's done just some amazing work. She's a really great teacher. The kids love her. The adults love her. She's very, very engaging when she does education and training. She's also capable of doing almost every job that we have in the whole ministry. One of the things that she's done recently is working in Mkoko Village with the women. Mkoko Village is a village that we've worked in for a number of years. We've done a lot of different projects there. This was a project we started last year in January, and we called it the Healthy Home Project. So she worked with 10 or 12 of these women. They sat down probably every other week, every 2 weeks. They came together and had different lessons. They started out with what does it mean to have a healthy home. They came up with a list, and so they went through that list in the following weeks. So Joyce did a lot of the education and teaching, and they did things together at their homes. For example, digging a rubbish pit so they didn't just throw the rubbish on the ground. Making sure that they had proper toilets with the door, with sides that was kept clean. Making sure they had a hand washing station with soap and water. You can see some of those in the pictures there. They also built what they call a chinjo, which is a drying rack for their dishes, so they can wash their dishes and put them up off the ground. So those kinds of things. And at the end of this, I'll say, lesson or this time, Joyce went around with her little clipboard and checklist to every single home to make sure that all the women had all of the things done. And if they had all of the things done, then they were awarded a certificate with their name on it that they could post on the side of their house. So they were all very, very excited about it. And this program, we've not done anything just like this before. So it was quite a success. So we're really hoping that we'll be able to do it again. Again in Mkoko Village with some of the other women, and also in some of the other villages where we work. So Joyce did a fantastic job on that. Because of you guys, because of your generosity and your partnerships, for those of you that like numbers, these are the numbers. You know, Sun is done, and these were at the end of last year. So things have increased since that time. This year has been a really, really great year for our team. When Todd and I were here, we got here at the beginning of September. First in August was one of the highest months of filter installations. And then at the end of September, when we saw the numbers, it was even more than they had ever installed before. So 246 filters were installed in 1 month. So that's really cool. It takes a lot of teamwork to do that, a lot of coordination, from making the filters to doing the seminars to making sure they get installed. And we weren't there. So that's, for us, that's just so encouraging and so cool. So we're really, really blessed by these guys. Of course, we still need help. God is expanding this ministry, and we want to expand it the way He would like it to be done. So these are some of our needs. They're not unusual needs. Some of you are very familiar with them. A water filter costs us $100 to make and install. Some cost more than that, some cost less. It just depends on the location. So that's one of our biggest costs. One of our biggest challenges is to do that. And then we also have some other needs that we're looking at. This gives you an idea, a little bit of an idea of how much things cost in Tanzania. Tanzania has been affected by inflation, just like everybody everywhere else, so things do cost more. We've come up with quite a few ways to kind of cut some of those costs. Charles has had a big hand in that, so we're really grateful for that. One of the things that I would like to point out is we have calendars. This is a fundraising project of our daughter Aubrey. She took all of the pictures in the calendar, she put it together, had them printed, and so they're available out in the back if you would like to look at one and take one home with you. We would ask that you give a donation of at least $20 for one of these calendars. But the pictures in it, I'm her mother, so of course I'm biased, but they are really amazing. And they're of animals and scenery around where we live in Tanzania. So, yeah. And let's see. This is some information. You can get this information from one of our brochures out there on how you can give or donate, or through Brighton Christian as well. And yeah, Asanteni Sana, thank you so very much. Yeah. I forgot to say one thing. I think Ken's coming up here. So I think the next song that the worship team is going to sing is a song that's really near and dear to our heart, by the Gettys. And so listen to the words, because this really talks about the ministry that we have in Tanzania.
And I just want to say one more thing, is that we've been around a lot of other churches now, and it's so good to come home and feel the Spirit still in this church. You've had your ups and downs and roller coasters, but the Spirit is still alive and well here at BCC. So thank you.